Today, the affirmative side has stated the following points: that countries will become too dependent on us as we give them this amount of money, and that we should be focusing on helping people in the United States before we help people in other countries. These are both very interesting points to be considered, but in my rebuttal, I will be focusing on why the negative side opposes these points. The affirmative side argued that the money we are providing to other countries will cause them to depend on us too much, and they will take advantage of the money we are giving them. According to WhiteHouse.gov, the United States budget for the fiscal year 2014 is $4 trillion. Yes, we are spending $40 billion a year on foreign aid, but this is only 1% of the entire budget. By giving foreign aid to countries in poverty, we are giving them a step to recovery that will eventually allow them to provide for themselves. An example of the United States greatly benefiting other countries in Asia is during the Green Revolution. According to opposing viewpoints, the foreign aid that we have been giving to other countries in Asia has allowed many farmers to purchase more fertilizer and seeds for their crops. Therefore, more food can be distributed and businesses being provided for farmers. Once the farmers are able to have success with their business, the poverty rate goes down as well as famine. These farmers are also able to move on to small business development after finally earning an income. Once we have given these countries a boost to success, they are able to continue working and are able to start providing for themselves. By providing countries in need with foreign aid, we are setting them up for success that will allow them to no longer need aid. So why should we stop doing what we have been doing? Why shouldn't the countries in need have the chance to succeed? By providing foreign aid to countries in Asia and many other countries in the world, we have been able to make great impacts, and we should continue to do so. The Huffington Post also mentions that foreign aid has helped people escape poverty and survive war and hunger, as well as helped end polio, fuel the Green Revolution, and rebuild shattered economies. The things we have done for other countries are too incredible to stop. As Americans, we have the power to help countries in need, and we should continue to help them in order to lower the international number of hungry people and people in poverty. We cannot just focus on ourselves. Being as powerful of a country as we are, the United States should be helping other countries, especially due to the fact that it is only 1% of the United States budget. And as my colleague Vienna has said, we are able to save millions of people's lives. Does saving millions of lives saving millions of lives sound like a bad thing to you? Overall, the United States should continue providing the amount of foreign aid that we are providing now. Providing foreign aid to countries in need is only 1% of the United States budget of $3.8 trillion. It has benefited many countries in need, and it has helped our relationships with other countries. Also, providing foreign aid will not cause countries to be dependent on us, but will teach them to provide for themselves. Will teach them to provide for themselves. As Americans, coming from one of the most powerful countries in the world, we should be trying to make a difference worldwide rather than just focusing on ourselves. The affirmative side argued that the money we are spending should be used for the benefit of American citizens instead of people from different countries. Although that is a very good point, there are many people in the world who are suffering greatly and need our support. According to worldhunger.org, there are a total of 925 million people who are hungry in the world, especially in Africa and Asia. Being as powerful as a country as we are, we should be helping out other countries in the world that are in desperate need of help. By helping other countries in even the smallest ways, we have been making huge impacts. According to the Huffington Post, there are many people who are in need of our help to begin to start fighting poverty. According to the Huffington Post, an example of the United States helping out other countries in need is in Ghana. With our assistance, people such as Nana Kojo Kondwa, a village chief in Ghana, would not have had the money to hire national officials to enforce fishing regulations. Without these regulations being enforced, Kondwa would not have been able to protect the jobs and food of his village's future. Therefore, we should not cut the amount of foreign aid that we're distributing in order for more countries to be helped out of poverty. Of course, giving foreign aid to these countries will not end poverty completely, but at least we are able to provide them with something that will give them a step towards coming out of poverty. Therefore, the negative side does not support the proposal that be it resolved the United States Congress cut down foreign aid by 50%.
My opponents have addressed some very solid points that I will now touch upon. These points being, the negative side seems to think we're completely getting rid of foreign aid. Can't stress enough, we're not completely getting rid of foreign aid, we're reducing it. All of the scenarios you guys addressed were as if to say we're getting rid of foreign aid by saying without foreign aid or if we didn't have foreign aid. Number two. The opposing side thinks that we're backing out or giving up on some of the other countries. The United States is the most powerful country in the world, and we typically are not ones to back out. After President Bush completely annihilated countries in Iraq and the Middle East, we are still currently trying to pick up the mess we made. The other side is addressing how if we get rid of foreign aid, how if we cut foreign aid, it will not teach other countries responsibilities and make money management. I'm going to turn to my very handy and helpful chart here of the most expensive countries for us right now. In Zambia, we give out $459 million a year. It said in that article that the leader of Zambia spends all of that money within 9 months, and he won't tell them what he spends it on. So if we reduce the foreign aid, it will teach the other foreign countries how to better manage the money we give them, like Zambia and their corrupt leader. As we all know, the United States is undisputably the most powerful, wealthy, technologically advanced, and most successful country in the world. Because of this, other foreign countries across the globe looked up to us as if we were the big brother country, or even like a parental unit to the other countries. Along with this, we are all aware that a vast amount of countries in the world are going through poverty, mostly because their economy is extremely weak and their leaders do not know how to go about fixing this serious issue. So, in result of this, they turn to the United States for assistance, also known as foreign aid. We shell out nearly $52.3 billion each year in economic and military foreign aid to over 180 foreign countries. The Middle East and Africa are getting the most financial aid, at the same time that we are trillions and trillions of dollars in debt. The Middle East and Africa alone receive nearly $15 billion in foreign aid. Aside from that, we are sending over $35 million overseas to other foreign countries that we are barely associated with at all. If we were to cut funding from these other countries and stick to just the Middle East and Africa, that leaves a pool of $35 billion that we can put directly towards the massive amounts of debt we're in. I know 35 billion putting into 16 trillion is not that much, but it's a better starting point than how we are right now, which is just adding to the debt as we speak. Some of the countries that we are shelling out hundreds of millions of dollars to that we are somewhat affiliated with, Ivory Coast, we're giving $238 million a year. Democratic Republic of Congo, $313 million a year. Zambia, as I said before, $459 million. And the Ukraine, $224 million a year. Now, don't get me wrong, but we are the country that's known to be the most powerful, and we always help out. A few of the countries listed above we have strong relations to, and in that case, we have a good reason to spend hundreds of millions of dollars on. But we are spending an absurd amount of money on some countries we have no relation to whatsoever. An example of a country we have strong relations to is Guam. Guam is a very, very poor country off the coast of Asia, and right near the Koreas. But we have been spending almost $270 million to keep their country running each year, and now they let us move nuclear missiles onto their country as a base to protect against a nuclear threat against the United States from South Korea. Oh, North Korea. Also, a good example of a country that we are not even associated with that we're spending a ridiculous amount of money on is Honduras. I know they are a very poor and disease-ridden country, but in fact, we are almost the opposite of associated with them. We have violent tensions between our two countries. Be it resolved that the U.S. Congress cuts the foreign aid spending budget in at least half of 65%.